Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, a big squawk over fake Twitter accounts created by San Diego County's Republican Party.
GOP leaders say they were parody accounts, but Democrats are crying foul. And San Diego schools could face financial insolvency. We'll have a look at the effort to save one school in Claremont.
KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Farian.
And I'm Amitha Sharma, sitting in for Dwayne Brown. San Diego school chief says the district is hovering on the brink of bankruptcy.
We'll talk with Superintendent Bill Koba and School Board President Richard Barrera in just a few minutes. But first, tonight's top stories. 6 imposter Twitter accounts are creating a big flap within San Diego's political circles today. Local Republican Party Chairman Tony Krivaric openly admits he used the names of San Diego Democrats to create the fake accounts. Joining me in the KPBS News Center is senior Metro reporter Allison St. John. Now, Allison, why would Krivaric want to pose as a Democrat on Twitter?
Well, Joanne, Tony Krivaric is saying that this shows that the Democratic Party is asleep at the switch. He says that social media real estate is very valuable in any campaign, and when he went back and checked and they had not already signed up under their names, he went ahead and took those domain names.
Now, you spoke with Democratic Party Chair Jess Durfee about this as well. When did he first discover that his name was being used by someone else?
Jess Durfee says he went to sign up on Twitter back in the spring and discovered that somebody else had already taken his name. So the Democratic Party proceeded to monitor that account and noticed about a month ago, when the president was in town, that somebody was indeed starting to use it. So they lodged a complaint and Twitter shut those accounts down, plus the account of the Republican Party chairman.
So are there any laws, rules that say you can't do this and impersonate somebody online?
Well, according to Tony Krivaric, parody accounts are just a traditional part of the history of political campaigns. But in fact, Twitter does have a policy against anybody squatting on somebody else's name. So it is against Twitter's policy, and that's why they shut down the accounts.
KPBS reporter Allison St. John.
San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders has hired a financial advisor to help create a plan to pay for a proposed downtown Charger Stadium. Sanders says taxpayers could put in $38 million a year over 30 years for the project. The new advisor is expected to create a plan for the Chargers to approve next year. And then Sanders wants to put the issue to voters.
The Transportation Corridor Agency Board is moving ahead with a plan to build a segment of a 16-mile toll road in South Orange County. The agency will pay for an environmental and financial analysis of the controversial plan to add the 4-mile stretch of the road. The toll road was rejected by the state 3 years ago. One part of the road would have cut through San Onofre State Beach Park. Environmental advocates say the new plan is illegal.
Occupy San Diego is adding another protest site downtown. They've opened a second camping area in Children's Park because of public safety limits on their Civic Center encampment. The protest is nearly a week old, and KPBS reporter Eric Anderson says it doesn't appear ready to fade away.
Occupy San Diego began with a spirited march through downtown San Diego last Friday night. The event highlighted the general discontent that people were feeling about the nation's economic and political situation. UC San Diego sociology professor Isaac Martin says it is interesting that the protesters share a lot of the same grievances.
They're upset about a lot of the same things, even though they don't necessarily share the same solutions. And that's actually allowed many more people to see themselves in the movement and come join it than necessarily would have come if from the start the movement had a very clear policy demand.
The march became an encampment in the plaza outside San Diego City Hall this past weekend. Protester Frank Gormley says tents, sleeping bags, and signs all compete for space in the concrete square. And what drew him in was how it all happened.
And so you look around you, and everything here is a result of a consensus process that's at the core of this movement.
Gormley says he's impressed at how the kids, as he calls them, put things together.
We have all the things that little villages have. We have a medical tent, people's clinic, we have 2 libraries, we have a free food line, we have a media tent over here, we have energy, legal. So we have set up a little budding community within the cauldron of City Hall.
And that little community gets hungry several times a day. Brent Burris has been helping out on the food line, and he's impressed by the turnout.
Every race, creed, political affiliation, everybody just getting along.
Thanks, brother.
And all, here for the greater good. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing.
Sociology professor Isaac Martin says he's impressed with the congenial relationship between the protesters and the authorities. He says it's tough to tell, however, how long the occupation is going to last.
There's no sort of fixed duration for these things, so there's no way to predict, how long it'll typically last, because it depends very much on how other people react to the movement.
Martin says at some point people will drift away as the demands of their daily lives move up the priority list.
That was Eric Anderson reporting. Professor Martin also says Occupy San Diego is starting out a lot like the Tea Party movement did. He says it could become an enduring political movement.
Home sales went up a little in San Diego last month while prices dropped. MDA DataQuick says September home sales rose by 0.5% over last year. The median price of a home was $315,000. That's a drop of nearly 5% from September 2010. DataQuick says low prices and low mortgage rates are keeping demand up.
President Barack Obama will visit San Diego next month to take in a basketball game. The Carrier Classic will be played on the deck of the USS Carl Vinson, the ship that buried Osama bin Laden at sea. The game is scheduled for November 11th, and it's the first college basketball game scheduled on an aircraft carrier.
San Diego Unified School District, the second largest district in the state, is on the brink of insolvency. That's the alarm district officials are sounding this week as they get word state budget revenues are down. We'll get the details from the district leaders in just a moment. But first, here's a look at the numbers. San Diego Unified is the largest school district in the county with 132,000 students and an annual operating budget of more than $1 billion. California's revenues are lagging behind state projections, and that can trigger an automatic cut to schools in January. Based on current figures, San Diego Unified faces a budget cut of $30 million. Joining me now to talk about the school district's financial troubles are Bill Koba, superintendent of the San Diego Unified School District, and Richard Barrera, president of the San Diego Unified School District's Board of Education. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Bill, let's start with you. As we just saw, some of the projections, some of the budget was really based on projected revenue. So was the school district's budget a little bit too optimistic when it was set, or what went wrong?
We follow the guidance from the state in terms of revenue expectations, how much money they would provide to us. We ran the numbers, reconciled them to our expenditures, and had a balanced budget. Now, the state adopted a budget which had a significant condition, and that was we could keep the money if, in fact, all of the revenue projections were met. However, if they failed to meet certain projections, there'd be an application of a formula to decide how to cut public education and all the other public sector entities in the state. Those projections are not coming to pass. After 3 months of actuals of revenue are in, the state is down $705 million.
So that's $30 million to your district in December. Worst case scenario, you're talking about insolvency. What does that mean, Richard, insolvency?
Well, it means a couple of things. Technically what it means is the state of California would come in and take over our district. And the reason that we would be insolvent is because we would be telling the state we can't make the cuts to balance our budget. And so under the law, the state not only comes in and takes over the district, but provides an emergency loan to allow the district to pay its bills. Well, the reason we're in this situation is because the state has been cutting our budget. So where's that money going to come from? So whether the state is running our district or, the elected, board and our superintendent are running our district, we're facing the same situation, which is if we have to continue making these cuts, we can't educate kids. And so that's, you know, that's the point that we're trying to stress here.
What are your other options other than insolvency? Can you cut back on school days? Can you lay off more teachers? Close schools?
We can and have already looked into school closures, the sale of property, additional cuts to certificated and credentialed personnel, and to additional reductions in program. But we're in a people profession. 92% of our budget is people. We've spent the last 4 years cutting over $450 million, and we were cutting stuff to avoid cutting staff because we know it's people, it's quality teaching in the classroom that makes a difference. You can't cut forever, and there's only been one solution for the state to this point in time. It's continuous reduction of expenditure. And we can't afford that if the utility bills, the health bills, the transportation costs go up. Everything we cut still has to accommodate the realities of operating a large, complex organization.
Some people at home, though, are going to say when it comes to staff, some might argue that maybe teachers negotiated too generous a contract. We know that next year, what some are calling the ticking time bomb, you are going to reinstate some salary increase as well as 5 forced furlough days.
Yeah, so a couple of things there. The ticking time bomb is the mid-year cuts. That's the ticking time bomb. Every employee in our district, teacher, bus driver, custodian, superintendent, this year and again last year took a pay cut. The only thing that our employees have experienced in this crisis is pay cuts. Nobody's gotten an increase. Next year, the contract that we negotiated calls to reinstate the school days that we have lost, which is the right thing to do, and to start to restore some of that money that people have lost in their in the pay cuts the last couple of years. I believe that if we're in a position where we just simply don't have the revenue to do that, I believe we'll work out agreements with our employees to help the district get by so that we're not, you know, in the end, cutting more staff. But that's not the big issue, because if the employees agreed to put off, you know, getting their raises and the school days reinstated, we're still facing an enormous deficit if we have these mid-year cuts. So there's work that we'll do, you know, together with our employees, you know, to help get through this, like we have done the past couple of years. But if the state doesn't figure this out and makes further cuts rather than brings revenue back into schools, it doesn't matter, because we're still going to be in a situation that we simply can't afford that level of cuts.
And I know both of you are saying today that this is not the annual, you know, we're in desperate times, cut, cut, cut. This is really the end of the line. What are you asking parents to do now?
Well, let me jump into that, because, yeah, I understand people have been hearing this for, you know, forever. And, you guys are crying wolf again. You're saying that, you know, the schools are going to go off the cliff and then things work out. The reality is things have never worked out. What the state keeps doing is avoid solving the problem, but, you know, a few gimmicks like this, you know, well, we'll get this miraculous revenue increase, and it just pushes it back. But the problem has never gone away. We're actually experiencing real cuts in our schools. What parents need to do is, and I will just be, you know, very blunt about this, they need to call the Republican members of the state legislature who are refusing to consider any sort of tax increase for any purpose. And because we're in this two-thirds environment.
We're going to have to leave it there, Richard,
yeah.
But I know your point being made is that parents have to call their legislators.
That's exactly right.
Thank you both for being here. Coming up, we continue our school budget coverage with a special report on school closures and one Claremont school that's hoping for a second chance.
Tonight on KPBS. At 8, a visit to Wisteria Candy Cottage in San Diego's backcountry, and the North County home made famous by a Civil War hero on Ken Kramer's About San Diego. Then at 8:30, go under Lake Arrowhead with Huell Hauser into a world that few people have ever seen on California's Gold. And at 9, the doc's blood phobia is finally cured, clearing the way for his job offer in London on Doc Martin. That's tonight on KPBS.
The American people
have named PBS the most trusted source of news
and public affairs
for the 8th year
in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you. I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, congressional hearings about sanctions on Iran, plus a state visit by South Korea's president. That's Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
As you heard just a few minutes ago, San Diego City schools are looking ahead to a 7th year of budget reductions for next fall. The district expects to have to cut at least $58 million and is considering closing about 10 schools. KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert visited one of the schools recommended for the chopping block.
About 160 kindergarten through 5th graders attend Cadman Elementary in the Bay Ho neighborhood near Claremont. Their school is one of about 10 that San Diego Unified is considering closing next fall. When parents, teachers, and staff found out that district officials were suggesting closing Cadman, they were surprised. They say the school's just hitting its stride.
We have become a fine arts school. It's called an arts-focused school. Using theater, art, music, and dance. We are the only elementary school in Claremont to offer all of those elements.
Cadman is being eyed for closure in part because its test scores are below state targets and enrollment is about 90 students short of what the campus can accommodate. But Principal Ballard only joined the school in the spring and is intent on making over test scores, enrollment, and the physical campus.
So all this dirt that you see will actually be sod. Around it will be trees. On just those 2 buildings over there, we lose 90,000 gallons of water just from rainfall. So we figured out a way to recycle that water through the poles into the asphalt and put a little trench, and it will actually water our sod, and we're going to put in 3 ponds.
Parents like Deanne Hutchison are disappointed they could be denied the opportunity to see these plans come to fruition.
We're not just sitting around waiting to take. We're actually really implementing a lot of brain power and time and emphasis on what we can do as a family, a community, parents, ourselves, and there are private funds that have come into play due to that.
Honey crackers on it. Some graham crackers, good.
For students, fears about Cadman closing have less to do with long-term plans and more to do with familiarity.
Well, I'd be pretty sad because I just love this school. I've been going to it for a long time, and all my friends are here. It'd be really sad if my friends went to a different school and I couldn't really talk to them or see them anymore.
Some wonder if the dollars saved will be worth the disruption to students.
Supposedly that money goes back into rotation and helps other schools, but will it really, or will it just disappear again and we're still in the same situation? But yet all these kids who've been at the school and are thriving and know their teachers and the teachers know them, what happens to them, and that's the biggest concern.
District officials say at this point, there aren't many options left for balancing the budget.
We believe now at this point that we've cut so much in those past 6 years that we're having to look at core basic infrastructure of the district in order to be able to survive into the future.
Nothing is more basic to the district's infrastructure than schools. Each closed campus would save about $500,000 in operating costs and free up capital funds.
It's always making choices between very difficult things. And right now we're talking about a potential savings of about $5 million. That amount of money, just off the top of my head, might be somewhere between 60 and 80 teachers, and which is about the number for say in kindergarten, the difference between being 24 students and 29 or 30 throughout the district.
Ballard is holding out hope that an alternative can be found.
I know that we're looking at private funds, we're looking at every area we can. This budget crisis is a real crisis. And I do know that the district and the board, the last thing they want to do is close schools. That is not their choice, but they have to do something about the money. So we're trying to help solve that problem.
That was KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert. Communities will weigh in on the district's closure proposals through November, and the Board of Education will vote on final recommendations before the end of the year.
Are men better than women at certain tasks? You just have to bring up reading a map to start the debate. Many studies suggest men excel over women when it comes to spatial abilities, solving problems involving physical spaces, shapes, and forms. That's a key component to their success in technology and engineering fields. But local researchers have found this may be attributed to nurture rather than nature. Joining me is researcher Dr. Moshe Hoffman. He's a postdoctoral student at the UC San Diego. He worked on the study that's published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. Dr. Hoffman, thank you for being here. Now, you worked with 2 tribes in India to take part in this study, and you looked at the difference between the two. What did you find?
Well, we found that the matrilineal tribe, the Khasi, where women have a lot more rights than the men do and a lot more power, there's no gender difference in how long it takes them to solve this very simple puzzle, this simple measure of spatial reasoning. Whereas among the Karbi, where women are treated a little bit worse, a traditional patrilineal society, there you find that the women take 1.5 times as long to solve this puzzle, or basic measure of spatial reasoning, than the men do.
So I just want to point out to our audience, this is the puzzle you're talking about. Actually, I got to try this before we started, before we started doing this, and it took me about 20 seconds to do. You have to put the picture of the horse together. By asking them to solve this and finding the time differences, what did that tell you?
Well, in solving this puzzle, you have to kind of think about how the pieces fit together. You have to think about how you would need to rotate it to get, you know, the hair next to the face, and you can try many different combinations, but it's a lot easier to just imagine it in your head. And that's the only quick way to do it, is to kind of visualize in your mind's eye. And so people who have good visualization skills, good spatial abilities, are going to be much quicker at this test than others.
So now what you discovered is that this ability may not be innate. This may be something that we're taught. But how do we account then for the gender differences that seems to be, at least in our society, where we tend to view women as being not as good at this?
Well, this study, because we're comparing a matrilineal society and a patrilineal society who have the same gene pool, the same climate, the same geography, pretty much controls for everything. They have in common pretty much everything except for culture. We can then be fairly confident that it's culture that's driving our results. And so that tells us that culture does play a big role. Now, that doesn't tell us that these other variables, like geography, climate, biology, like their gene pool that they come from, doesn't play a role. So we can't be sure that there still aren't innate differences between men and women, but what we can be sure is that things like the way men and women are treated, the socialization, the education, the stereotypes we face, the experiences we have, that those also play a role. And importantly, because these things play a role, that means that in our society we can influence them if we change around the socialization practices.
So if girls in school, or women even at a later age, are sort of told that they're not necessarily good at things like this, then they might not necessarily be good at things like this.
It has been shown that being faced with negative stereotypes, having these negative stereotypes salient in your mind, does make you worse. Yeah.
So how will your research translate possibly into education, even how we teach girls in schools?
Well, this research does suggest that the socialization that we have, the culture, can play a large role, and so it suggests that for parents and teachers and policymakers that we can reduce this gender gap if we try hard enough. Now, it isn't so clear from the research how to do that exactly. What is the mechanism, as scientists say? What drives our results? What it does say is that we can do something, if not necessarily what it is that we can do, but that's really important, because it tells us that we should keep trying and we should work at it, because we can have a role, and these gender differences in spatial abilities play out in the real world, not just at how we do at puzzles, but how women are represented in certain industries like known as STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. These fields, women make up about 19% of the workforce. And this is thought to be a large part of why. And so if we want to reduce that gender gap, we really want to start with our parents and our teachers and our policymakers.
Dr. Moshe Hoffman, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
A recap of tonight's top stories in just a moment. And in our public square, we want to know what you think about the Twitter flap between San Diego's Democrats and Republicans. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
The immigration system just isn't working, and we need to change it.
He promised us immigration reform, and what did he give us? 1 million people deported.
There's fear running through these communities. You're supposed to be afraid.
We have a job to do.
Guards beating them. We're running them down like they were animals.
They're holding people who have a claim to stay in America.
These people aren't on vacation. They've broken the law.
Lost in detention. Watch Frontline.
Tuesday at 10 on KPBS.
Hi, I'm Elsa Sevilla. If you find yourself hearing about a great program on KPBS after it's already aired, we have a solution. Get notified about your favorite TV programs on KPBS before they air by subscribing to the TV Highlights email alert. This daily email will feature the best programs coming up right here on KPBS TV, so you can make a date to tune in or plan to record it. It's easy to register. Just go to kpbs.org/alerts.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. As we told you earlier, the chair of the San Diego Republican Party set up 6 fake Twitter accounts posing as Democrats. The news is spreading across the internet. It's even made it to the D.C. blogosphere. For now, Kraverick has dismissed the criticism, saying the tactic is fair political game. Here's a tweet from Kraverick's account. He says, anyone in politics who doesn't register their name on Twitter is a total goober. Now, that's his defense for registering the names of local Democrats on Twitter. Is this just politics as usual, or did Kraverick cross an ethical line? Tell me what you think. You can respond on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and of course you can email us. That's at news@kpbs.org. And FYI, you can find me on Twitter, the real me, at Joanne Farian.
Taking a look at some of tonight's top stories, San Diego County home sales went up 0.5% last month, but prices also dropped compared to September of 2010. Prices are down by nearly 5%. San Diego police have ordered the permanent removal of tents and other structures put up by Occupy San Diego protesters at the downtown community concourse by midnight tonight. Demonstrators may remain on the plaza, but not their possessions. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.